I'm just gonna watch Upper Echelon's video on it. Let's see what happens.
Alright, today I want to talk about a situation that is currently...
Upper Echelon's video is a TLDR. Great. Fucking great. I think I'd rather watch Upper Echelon because Upper Echelon explains things in a way that's more educative and less sensationalism. And I like that better. Although I do consume, I say, sensationalism, drama and news, depending on my mood.
Soon, if I had to guess, but either way, I want to throw my hat in the ring and discuss it, regardless of whether or not it ends up going anywhere. Right off the bat, this video is not about Ava Chris Tyson. A lot of people are discussing that right now, with very good reason, by the way. One of Mr. Beast's former team members was making inappropriate jokes with a minor, and it's a whole big thing, but that's not what I'm talking about for today. I don't know enough about it to weigh in right now, and I'll probably get to it sooner or later, but it's not a video that pertains to that particular subject. At least not right now.
Can we agree that transitioning should be 21? I just saw that right now for some reason. Generally, I agree that a person needs to be mature and old enough to make decisions if it's life-changing or if it's like that's gonna involve a lot of shit. So yeah, both transitioning and marriage and marrying people, yeah, 100%. I think they should be adults only. Come to Twitch, little boy. Hey fans and hi Sunni. Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of these old messages late. I'm so sorry. Yeah, hold on. At least Twitch isn't dying anymore though. I'm not. Hey, yo, Twitch people, I'm not abandoning you guys. I have this like tool on my OBS that streams in both Twitch and YouTube comments, and you know, you guys are being in here, but because there's few of you, you guys get picked up less. So I'm sorry for that. Fanson is going a high. Hello. Anyway, let's go back to watching the video. Yep, that's an adult issue. Yeah. Less opinion-based, right? We don't know. Yeah. Let's leave it at 18 years of age to avoid headaches.
Instead, this is a video about how a very large amount of what Mr. Beast does for his primary content is quite possibly just flat out illegal, after a former employee raised a video describing his experience, which appears, in my estimation at least, to be shadow banned on YouTube now. I'm going to link directly to that original video down below and summarize a few of the things he talked about, but I also want to focus more on a few separate individual definitions and talk about the broader picture here, where a world-famous creator with hundreds of millions of followers is, yeah. I guess I'm just going to show things and read quotes. I've been told pretty harshly before by people that I do trust a great deal that his team is extremely heavy-handed with how they handle any sort of criticism in a legal way, is what I'm saying. Everybody knows who Mr. Beast is. If you don't, that's honestly quite surprising, but the quick version is that he's very rich, very powerful, and has hundreds of millions of online fans and followers.
Yeah.
He makes his money by posting videos, selling products, doing brand deals, and hosting giveaways. That behavior, namely the giveaways portion, has earned him a tremendous amount of online support and goodwill, as well as fame, because he's routinely pulling out wads of cash, even just on the street, and handing it over to random people. Well, not so random if you listen to some people, but anyway, $10,000 to...
Who wants to bet? Chat, I've never watched a Mr. Beast video. I mean, I really only watched like I've only really watched only like 3. I mean, or like maybe 6 or something. It depends. Like somewhere below 5. Anyway, chat, I think part of the reason why a lot of people watch Mr. Beast videos is because they want to live in the fantasy that that could be them. What do we think? It's the money. Yeah, 100%. It's the money. Like they're drawn by the pool of the money, whether that be them fantasizing over it, them like being drawn by the fact that there's a shit ton of money and only one can be, like, you know, all these sorts of shit. I don't think it's about the challenge, or maybe it can be about the challenge, but it's more so about the money, you know?
You, because you subscribe to me. 1,000 here, 100,000 there.
Yeah.
Even big competitions and game show style videos.
I'm not saying that's a bad thing, by the way, because it's like, if it works, right? And he's not actively harming anyone, right? I'm just saying, I think that's part of it.
The atmosphere is that Mr. Beast might make you rich as long as you support him and are...
Yeah, exactly. Bro,
that's a
upper echelon, it's fucking mind melding right now. Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah.
He certainly has a massive legal team behind him. I have no doubt there. Some of the things I see, some of the things this former employee talked about, some of the industry standard regulations that quite possibly apply to him, or at the very least, in my opinion, should apply to him, make me think that there's a much bigger scandal coming down the pike, well and truly beyond the scope of whatever he's facing right now because of Ava Christie.
I like the concept
We'll
of
start
what
with the
he
summary.
does, but personally, I wouldn't be getting into that. Understandably. Yeah.
Of this, I believe to be shadow banned video by a former employee of his titled, "I worked for Mr. Beast, he's a fraud."
Oh, it is?
It
Okay,
effectively
great.
talks about three major points.
Okay.
One, the game show videos and other competition type content that he posts online with prizes attached to it is manipulated.
Okay.
CGI, special effects, timing, etc., in order to make it more interesting for the viewers, even so far as to directly influence the integrity of the competition. Two,
I don't think that's a problem. Aside from maybe that last phrase, I don't think that's a problem. Of course, he's gonna fake videos. Or not necessarily fake videos, but script them. Or, you know, like, exaggerate things. Like, one of the videos that I actually watched is that when he said he was dropped into an entire city all by himself, and it's not actually a city. It's like one fucking villa or something. Yeah. Like, obviously it's scripted, and obviously it's like exaggerated. Like, do people actually take it on face value when he says he got lost in a fucking city? Right? I think the last genuine video I saw from Mr. Beast was when he was buried alive. I think that was it. And if I remember correctly, he was very shaken up when that happened. I think that might have been part of the reason why he started scripting his videos, but at that point, right, who cares? If it's entertaining and no one is getting hurt and it's still somewhat like half true, not even half true, like quarterly true, then who cares? Right? Again, I'm not a big fan of Mr. Beast, but I don't necessarily think doing that is a wrong thing as a content
products
creator.
that he sells, namely Feastables and
But
chocolate
okay, let's
bars,
see what
really,
happens.
are closer to lottery tickets than actual candy bars, with really strange marketing mechanics.
He
and
changed the
advertising
results of a
choices
game
attached to
show
them.
through editing. So okay, actually, you know what? I have questions which involves if the winner actually got his prize, and like all these sorts of shit. If like opportunities were taken from people, but let's see.
Which seem very predatory towards a younger audience. And three, he is routinely hosting illegal lotteries in his live streams as a promotional tactic for selling merchandise, with additional problems like falsifying signatures, failure to disperse prizes, and more. That's the content of the long form video, again linked down below in the description. But for me, claim 1 and claim 3, or pieces of them rather, are what I want to focus on, because there's actually a very specific legal case that came to mind while watching that video.
Okay.
It made me really start questioning how long Mr. Beast can keep doing this before it all comes crashing down on his head. First, we need context. Mr. Beast very often runs game shows on his channel for hundreds of thousands of dollars. As showcased by this alleged former employee in 2 different examples, he also heavily influences the outcomes of these competitions by doing everything from paying certain people to leave the competition, all the way to giving special equipment to a particular team. The first example...
Okay, the former is not that bad, as long as they take the money, right? Nobody's getting hurt, who cares? Giving people an unfair advantage is... Ooh, that's a gray line there.
Given
Depends
was a
what it depends on what that advantage is. It's a case-by-case basis.
versus boys challenge, where they had
Is
to
it that
solve a
bribery?
Rubik's Cube, or a
It's
bunch
not
of
bribery, because wait, actually, you know what? Let me look up the actual definition of bribery. Because if I remember correctly, bribe. Persuade someone to act in one's favor, typically illegal or dishonestly, by a gift of money or other inducement. I mean, in this situation, it's not being illegal or dishonest, so I feel like it's not bribery. It's paying someone to do it, it's paying someone to get out, but I don't think it's bribery.
Rubik's Cubes rather. And he deliberately paid one contestant on the boys team $10,000 to leave, which was double the prize pool if he had stayed in the competition.
I would do that. He actually showed it on his stream. I would do that too. Who cares? Who wouldn't take that? Who wouldn't take that?
Making an obvious guarantee that he would take the money and go.
Yeah.
And he did this because that's the contestant that knew how to solve the cubes. In case it's not clear enough, he straight up rigged the competition in favor.
He rigs the competition to get rid of the people that actually knows how to solve them in order to make the video more entertaining or more hype. Is that a bad thing? Hold on, I'm thinking. Is that a bad thing? Surface level? Not really, because the contestant accepted. But I feel like that's not really a... Yeah, actually, you know, the more I think about it, I don't think that's a bad thing.
Of the girls' team in more ways than one. He also gave them a drone to try and spy on the boys' team, but all of that happened...
Whoa. Wait, what? I didn't see this video. What?
Also gave them a drone to try and spy on the boys' team, but all of that happened directly on camera, which makes it a little bit less impactful, I think. The second example given is far more interesting because it pertains to a competition with a prize of $1 million, the same prize pool in size as a network broadcast program called Survivor on CBS, which I'll be referencing here in a minute.
Okay.
Focused on a woman named Rosanna Pansino. See, Rosanna Pansino had competed in a $1 million hide-and-seek challenge in which Mr. Beast, or his editing team, I suppose...
By the way, I would win a hide-and-seek challenge. You know why? Because I'm short and nobody can find me or see me. I also look like the most generic fucking Filipino alive.
Deliberately modified the footage, making it appear that she had performed worse than she actually did, and skewing the results, the placements, from the audience's perspective at least, in such a way that the top three appear to be...
Fuck! Can I borrow more pixels? What the fuck is this? Hold on. I'm gonna read it.
Trio of very large YouTubers, rather than including her. Simple rundown here. She was hiding. They all had earpieces to know when someone got found. It was announced to them. Logan Paul, another massive YouTuber and controversial at that, got found while she was hiding, after which they offered her money to come out and quit the competition, but she refused, and then she got found while switching spots. However, the winner of this challenge cheated. They said that no one could hide in the ceilings because there was wiring up there or something like that, but the winner of the challenge was hiding in the ceiling, and the editing staff also modified the overall video so that Rosanna Pansino would not appear in the top three, replacing her with Logan Paul. And all of this was done behind the scenes. The view...
It's because, yeah, going into the mind of Mr. Beast, it's because Logan Paul being like in the remaining in the last fair few minutes of the video would mean more screen time because he's more popular. Is that a bad thing? It feels like, actually, you know what? That might be a bad thing. That might be an L from
This is where I want to branch out from that original video. Remember, this game show, and it is a game show. Mr. Beast runs feature-length game shows with regularity on his channels for
because
surprise.
And what happened was that she also got edited out, and I feel like that's oof.
This game show had a prize pool.
I think editing out shit like that to make it much more fun is not necessarily bad, but it depends on what you do. Again, I want to think that a lot of the shit that I talk about is like nuanced, or like I like to think about the nuance of everything. So, and the default answer that I will always give is that it's a case-by-case basis, because it's shit. When it comes to shit like this, sometimes it's bad, sometimes it's good. It's never really like all across the board bad and all across the board good, you know? The world doesn't work that way.
In particular of $1 million, the same amount as the CBS reality show Survivor. Well, Survivor, despite being mentioned by this alleged former employee in passing, has a particularly relevant lawsuit brought forward by a contestant of season 1, where she alleges that producers of the show engaged in a scheme to prearrange outcomes by persuading, influencing, or intimidating contestants. She claims that the show's creator and executive producer, Mark Burnett at the time, materially altered the game by influencing multiple other contestants to change their votes, because Burnett believed that a contestant named Rudy, in this case, would be a fan favorite and wanted to keep him on and continue with him in the competition. The case ultimately settled out of court, which means we don't know who won or what actually happened between these parties, but in her lawsuit, Stacey Stillman, that was her name, cited 47 USC 509, which pertains to, quote, prohibited practices in contests of knowledge, skill, or chance. Ooh. Here's the relevant section of
this
that
being a legal issue might actually be interesting. Because if Mr. Beast is actually liable for it,
It shall be unlawful for any person with intent to deceive the listening or viewing public, 1, to supply to any contestant in a purportedly bona fide contest of intellectual knowledge or intellectual skill any special and secret assistance whereby the outcome of such contest will be in whole or in part prearranged or predetermined. 2, by means of persuasion, bribery, intimidation.
Okay. I think most I think most game. I'm gonna be real with you, chat. I think most game shows are rigged, but and under this law, literally every single game show should be in it. But it depends on who gets caught, huh? Interesting.
Or otherwise, to induce or cause any contestant in a purportedly bona fide contest of intellectual knowledge or intellectual skill to refrain in any manner from using or displaying his knowledge or skill in such contest, whereby the outcome thereof will be in whole or in part prearranged or predetermined. End quote. That's the part that matters, although there is more. But let's go through and simplify it. It shall be unlawful for any person with intent to deceive the listening or viewing public, the audience, by means of persuasion or bribery.
Every producer is gonna ignore that. Every single fucking producer in America and beyond is gonna ignore that.
To induce or cause any...
Because that goes against what makes an entertaining show. I'm not saying that I agree with it. It's just that from a from a business perspective, it doesn't make sense, and they're not gonna do it. I'm not saying it's a good thing either. Yeah.
Refrain in any manner from using or displaying knowledge and skill in that contest, which then predetermines the outcome in whole or in part. Right? Make sense? Think back here. When Mr. Beast runs a competition with 100 boys and 100 girls, and then pays one of the boys more than the prize pool amount that he would win by staying in the competition to not help his team anymore, he modifies the result of the competition through bribery during a challenge of knowledge, in this case a Rubik's Cube puzzle, favoring a particular team. Not good. However, that was known. It happened directly on camera.
Yeah, what?
Were
there no women in the fucking video that knew how to solve a Rubik's Cube? Was everybody dumb? What's going on here?
Money, which she refused, to drop out of the competition, thereby attempting to bribe her in a manner that would in part predetermine the outcome of the game.
Yeah.
What's more, after she refused, seemingly for the purpose of making the video more entertaining, I guess, which people tell me
she got caught out
elsewhere online, his editing team removed her from the top 3, placing instead a much larger creator in that role, despite the fact that he was not actually there. Which,
by the way, chat, I would get bribed as well. You fucking give me $5,000 to do that, I would.
The audience, fulfilling basically every single part of this law at one time or another, from what I can tell, in my opinion, to the very letter. Now, I know some people are going to make this distinction here, and they should, to be honest, but a YouTuber is not broadcast television.
True. I think editing stuff or scripting is alright as long as contestants is aware of the manipulation. If the contestants are aware of the manipulation, it won't be fun anymore, and the reactions won't be genuine. And if the reactions aren't genuine, it affects how fun the stream, or rather the content is, the show is. So, yeah.
You look at the audience metrics, Survivor got an average of
It's this tough balancing act of going beyond, not necessarily breaking the law, but stretching it out a little and making it entertaining for the audience. Because the law inherently makes it so that it's hard to make entertaining stuff, or rather find what the audience likes. The difficult part in there is that what the audience likes are always the parts where it's borderline illegal, or what if it makes shows and medias and all these sorts of stuff borderline illegal as well. That's the problem with what audiences want. You can't give an audience exactly what they want, and if someone does, I think they're breaking the law in some capacity, even though I might not know the law from wherever they reside, because that's just I think that's what's currently very common. You can't give the audience what they want unless you're breaking the law, because what the audience wants is exciting, is stuff that breaks laws, or at the very least stretches it. That's what I see it at least. Yeah. Ludwig talked about something very recent, similar, about how the recent 50 YouTubers versus each other, a lot of seemed to be rigged in favor of Logan Paul, or it seemed like Logan Paul already was informed of the games. Yeah, and it's because Logan Paul has the most like reach and the most pull. That guy, like, a lot of people don't like him, right? He's an absolute fucking scammer. But that guy puts asses on seats. The longer he is in videos, the longer he is in anything, the longer those seats are gonna be filled, the longer the watch time, the more advertisers are happy. And that's the tough balancing act that I mentioned.
0.4 million viewers across 35 days, while Mr. Beast will get sometimes 10 times higher than that across a much smaller period of time. His feature-length game show programs are far more popular than pretty much anything on all of broadcast television. But the episode in question, the hide-and-seek $1 million prize pool video, is a YouTube original program. I can't personally say at what specific point in time a creator who owns a media company that is 10 or 20 times larger and more successful than mainstream broadcast television networks becomes liable under those same rules, or if they ever even apply at all for that matter. But Mr. Beast appears to be completely disregarding the concept of game show integrity, purely for the sake of making...
I think there are I think most game shows are don't have integrity. They just haven't been caught yet. But I get his point.
Those game shows...
I'm not saying that I defend Mr. Beast, by the way. It's just that if Mr. Beast is like facing this shit, I think every other game show should as well.
Not good. Except that alone wouldn't be nearly as bad.
Yeah,
YouTube
it's not
is
as
a
bad.
competitive atmosphere.
Who cares?
He's giving away money, lots of it. He's just trying to make things entertaining, and legally, broadcast television rules probably don't even apply to him, so who cares, am I right? Sure. Except...
Didn't we already have this shit with social experiment videos back when commentary channels like Leafy were peak YouTube?
Runs frequent lotteries. And I'll use the mandatory disclosure here. I'm not a lawyer. These are just my opinions. But
Yeah,
let's take a look at
understandable.
what's going on. First, the FCC classifies lottery as any
Wait, how is
game,
lottery
contest,
involved
or
here?
promotion that combines the elements of prize, chance, and consideration, which is pretty loose. But there's a format here that we have to focus on, highlighted initially by this alleged former employee, of live-streamed merchandise signing. There's a lot of examples
is this?
here, but
Are these like parts where Mr. Beast usually says, "Fucking subscribe," or I don't know, throw a like in the next 5 minutes and you might win $5,000. There's $10,000 hidden in my merch, and if you get it, you know, is this what he's going? I think that's the angle because Mr. Beast does that a lot.
Most of them get deleted. Like this one, video not available. However, on the Wayback Machine...
On the contrary, Sagi, the game show got caught and paid under the table. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, like I'm telling you, it's insane. These fucking game shows, they're not integral.
Was buy this shirt, you could win $1 million. The content of that stream, as put forward again by this alleged
prediction.
was
I'm so smart.
non-stop torrent of claims again and again and again that if you buy a shirt in the next 5 minutes or 10 minutes...
Chat, it's not pre-watched. I swear to God, it's not pre-watched. Oh my God. We're mind melding right now. Upper Echelon and I are literally sharing the same brain.
You'll get thousands of dollars in your package, or an Xbox.
It's
or a
pattern
PS4,
recognition, chat. I just
whatever
have
else
that skill, you know. That's why I'm the VTuber historian. I recognize patterns
it is. They
and
were giving
remember
away.
them.
He's done this, indisputably, it's a regular occurrence, dozens of times, with prizes that are genuinely worth large sums of money. Creating a system where he sells something, like a shirt, attaches a much larger financial incentive to it, like a car or cash, and then sells thousands more of that item, because it's effectively a ticket now for a lottery.
From a business perspective, it's very smart. Because if you tell people that, hey, there's fucking $5,000 in this fucking shirt, and one of you might get it, it literally makes people, it drives up sales, you know, because people are gonna be buying it in the hopes of fucking getting it. So it's like, it's kind of smart.
Yes, I do think it's important to outline that there was a non-paid method of entry for some of the prizes, but a lot more of them, you had to buy a shirt in the next X number of minutes, and you might get chosen to be flown down for a video or given something huge. On the one hand, you can say...
Not to
"Oh, he's
downplay
giving
your
away all-"
skills, but is it hard to predict? And that's the interesting part. It really isn't easy to... It's not hard to predict, nor is my prediction... Nor is my prediction... Not my prediction. Nor is my pattern recognition a special skill. It's only a quote-unquote special skill because people refuse to use it and are very dumb whenever they're online. Why do you think Twitter people are... Like, these Twitter people, these fucking Reddit people, these fucking 4chan people, brother, they're smarter than they are IRL. It's just that I have no idea why when they start typing on their little keyboard on Twitter, they lose all their brain cells and lose all common sense. Or maybe I'm just being hopeful. It's not supposed to be impressive. It's really not. I'm not impressed by myself, nor you should be impressed by myself. It's just common fucking sense, and it shouldn't be common.
All this money to charities and poor people. But
You
on the
are
other,
my
it seems a little
special.
bit worse
Yeah.
if the money that he gives to one poor person is funded by 5,000 other poor people frantically buying an overpriced t-shirt to enter what appears to be an illegal lottery
Yeah.
for the benefit of Mr. Beast. To be clear, the original video I'm referencing here, the one I believe to be shadow banned by YouTube, is much longer and has more
Yeah,
examples
53
in
minutes.
it,
That's
like
why
Beastables
I
and Beast
that's why I
Burger,
watched you
faking
instead.
signatures or whatever else. But the way I see it, there's two main problems right now.
Yes,
and
you
those
are. I out.
manipulating
Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
contest outcomes, 47 USC 509, and illegal lotteries that seem just completely indefensible, actually, in my personal opinion. Here's a
Is that illegal? Okay, chat. In theory, right? I say that I have $1,000 waiting in one of the posters in the merch that I'm about to launch on my re-debut. Again, it's not a re-debut, but a model showcase. And that promise drives up a lot of sales. But the $1,000 is actually there. Is that illegal? Is that legal in US law? In the Philippine law, I don't know if it is. But in US law, is that illegal? I don't think it's illegal. Yes, the hacker known as 4chan is smart. Yeah, no, 100%. I think it's... I don't... Looking at it, I don't think you're doing anything legally wrong. I can see how it's like morally gray. But from a legal perspective, how is it legal? Illegal, rather. Now it becomes a lottery. Okay, yeah, it becomes a lottery. Okay, so lottery laws apply when that happens then. Okay, I see.
It's a guess, and it's precisely that, a guess, okay? My guess is that he has an entire legal team advising him on the technicalities of how to do these sweepstakes properly. And if he did, or said, precisely what they told him, there'd be no prosecutable issue. However, when the stream title says
there's no
buy
legal.
the shirt to win $1 million, or when he and his friends are just saying stuff like, buy another shirt in the next 10 minutes and we'll put, I don't know, $5 grand in the bag for one of you lucky people, or some of you, or every one for the next like 2 minutes gets $100. Like when he's saying stuff like that, and when he decides that the video isn't entertaining enough, so he does things spontaneously that, you know, to change the outcome, that crosses the border from predatory and technically non-illegal to flat out blatantly indefensible, totally illegal, and they have had to pull down the live streams after, right? Like that's why they're deleting stuff in my estimation. On the channel. It all boils down to a question. At what point does a YouTuber become so big they jump categories without voluntarily jumping categories? A random person in their basement making YouTube videos is not broadcast television, right? Nobody can make that argument.
Yeah.
But when a multi-billion-dollar media company, because those are the numbers we're talking about here, is giving away millions of dollars in prizes or hosting dozens of live-streamed lotteries that seem to very blatantly violate the law, at what point does that...
I'm thinking right now, how is that? I have no idea how that's illegal, but again, I just don't know the law in the US.
...media company become liable for the activity that they're perpetrating? When a guy is running game shows for hundreds of millions of usually young viewers and giving away life-changing sums of money to various participants, but modifies the rules and the integrity of that competition on a personal whim for the purpose of making it more entertaining to the audience, when does the line get drawn in the sand? When does someone else, a higher authority, step in and say, no, you have to make this fair. You can't just decide, oh, that'd be more entertaining. Let's bribe him to drop out so she can win, or give them a drone so they can have an advantage. That's not okay. And it's a house of cards that Mr. Beast is living
Pay attention,
in right
Dian. This
now.
could happen to you when you become famous. I mean, I don't intend to have lotteries. Actually, you know what? I might. I don't know. Okay, I don't know. Because I'm gonna be honest with you, chat. I like gambling. I'm a fucking poor-ass Filipino who grew up in the streets. Of course I like gambling. So, like, I like the concept of having fun that way as well. So it's like, I kind of also wanted to add those kinds of elements, but now, if it's kind of illegal, then maybe not, right? Then maybe not. I think the baseline is that there is a monetary prize. Aren't these lotteries a bigger problem when a large chunk of the viewer base are potential buyers are kids? I mean, we don't know that because we don't know Mr. Beast's actual target demographic. Right now, right now, I can fucking tell you guys that it's fine for me to be saying the shit that I say because fucking 89% of you are above 25 to 30. To 34 rather. Yeah. Only 0.7. I checked this last week. Only 0.7 are 18 below. I can say all the shit that I want and assume that you guys are gonna be actual fucking adults about it, right? Right? I can make my porn references. I can make all these sorts of shit. I can say I like gambling. I can promote like less shit that is normally not safe for kids because who cares? My audience doesn't care. You guys don't care. Maybe you do, depending if you have the same interest, but who cares, right? But in Mr. Beast's case, we'd have to see if there are actually a lot of audiences in his chat. And you know what? Based from what I see on like, I don't know, fucking Twitter and like all these sorts of shit, I can see it being a lot. Like maybe like what, 20-15% or something? It depends. Yeah. Gacha addiction? Brother, I have a gambling addiction, but I don't have a gacha addiction. You know why? Because when I gamble, I would like to see and hold and receive something tangible. Gachas are only waifus. What the fuck am I gonna look? I like my waifus as next as I like my waifus as next as the next as much as the next person, but I would rather have money. You know, you know, if I'm gonna lose money, I'd rather make it so that I lose money in hopes of getting more money. Yeah. When will a higher authority come? Never, Lamau. Welcome to America. Anything goes as long as you have money. Yeah, that's everywhere in the world. As long as you have money. Let's go gambling addiction when? Can a gambling company sponsor me? We don't know. Right now, I'm not really gambling because I don't have the time, nor do I have the interest right now, and nor am I incentivized to gamble. I used to gamble a lot when I don't have any money. When I did not have any money. And I'll be honest, chat, I was making a lot of bank. So in the Philippines, we have this thing called tong-its. I'm a fucking god at tong-its, chat. I am a fucking god. In poker, I'm decent as well. So it's like, I'm not saying that I'm pro or that like I'm an expert or whatever, but I've made more money than I've lost. But that could just be because Filipinos in the streets are also kind of dumb and like, you know, pattern recognition.
My opinion absolutely will eventually collapse on top
So
of
I
it.
found this new site called CSGO Lotto.
For anyone who made it this far but just isn't convinced of anything, totally fair. Remember Rosanna Pansino?
God.
She just came out with a video regarding the current Beast Games, which is a competition show by Mr. Beast in filming right now in Las Vegas that will be on Amazon Prime.
What happened to her?
Citing sources from the competitors, of which she claims to have 10 separate ones, quote, "It was really bad. People were having seizures because they were not getting medication, even though we were promised we would.
Oh,
and it was 100% rigged. They presented it as though the game would be like Squid Games, basically a type of game show where all the games are an even playing field. That was not at all the case. All the games were about speed and strength. So only the young athletic males were at an advantage over the women and elderly people that were cast. To make things worse, men started realizing that they could take out the women without being eliminated. Guys started tackling and hitting women. 2 girls were tackled and passed out on the field and dragged off to continue filming. I saw people...
That's bad. Okay, you know what? That's kind of bad. That's not necessarily Mr. Beast's fault. But the fact that they weren't getting like medical attention kind of makes it his fault. I feel like if you make a game show, anything involving physicality should be evened out, right? That's why I think game shows that are based on intellect and like common sense and how hard you can think is much more fair and much more interesting than like game shows that require you to be physical. Especially if your contestants are not the same, you know? It's like, oh boy, brother.
People with broken bones, stitches, etc., and most were women. We were given maybe
it is definitely the organizer's fault for incentivizing. Yeah, man.
Hours. food would run out and people would fight over,
Society.
steal, and hoard food. Water was scarce and kept running out as well. I had to sit with a bloody pad
Ooh,
for 2 days.
she couldn't
before I
change
could
her
get
period
undergarments
shit.
and my reusable pads because I'm allergic to regular pads. We
Ooh.
were also sleep deprived, only allowed to sleep 3 to 4 hours. We all slept on the floor of the stadium in a $10 sleeping.
Oh, that's
Skipping
bad.
forward here, they offered anyone who lost $1,000 to sign away their rights to join any kind of class action lawsuit of
Yo! That's insane.
any kind.
Okay, wow, okay. My mind's okay. Initially, this video kind of didn't convince me, but this part is kind of bad.
I didn't sign, so I did not get the money. After this article came out and things started blowing up, they called everyone back and decided to offer an additional $1,000 per person.
Yeah, it's a silencing fee.
Inconveniences. And
Okay.
to clarify, this person asserts it wasn't Amazon Prime that called them. It was
It's
Mr.
Mr.
Beast's
Beast.
personal crew.
Yeah.
And I do think there's something to be said for unfiltered competition or allowing people to truly compete with each other on, I don't know, kind of a brutal playing field. But if that stuff is true, well, I'll let people make up their own minds. And it feels like there's going to be a lot of stuff coming out here soon from the veritable horde of ex-employees and contestants that were all subjected to non-disclosure agreements. For added emphasis, the horrible conditions were additionally reported on by a local Las Vegas outlet, with Beast
Okay.
Games staff members and production crew allegedly verifying that they ran out of food, there were medical evacs, people's undergarments were permanently lost, and medication was
They have the fucking panty stealer on set. Oh my god, okay.
not provided properly. That kind of
Have a good
atmosphere
Derek,
only
boy.
maintains itself for so long. Aggressive non-disclosure agreements is what I mean by that. At a certain point, when the water comes through the cracks, it pours through the cracks and makes them bigger.
Yeah. Yeah. The biggest problem is that Mr. Beast has gotten too content pilled and it affects his contestants. Yeah, no, 100%. I think you hit the nail right in the head there, Flame. To a certain extent, when you're a content creator, you get content brain rot, this shit happens. I mean, I already feel it infecting me sometimes, man. Yeah. The only thing that's holding me back is that I can't do shit with other people.
Really explain it, but that's the impression I get right now. The water's coming through the cracks.
Yeah.
That's it. If you want to support the channel, check out the links down below.
Damn, okay, wow. Again, this video did not originally convince me, like the first half of it, but then this half, ooh, the last 5 minutes I think were the most important. But it seems like the video wasn't necessarily him, like upper echelon, calling out Mr. Beast, more so explaining why there might be problems for him in the future. Like he's tackling it from a legal perspective. Or a potentially legal perspective, yeah. Freaking Kazumov Konosuba was participating. Yeah! Fucking holy shit. Ugh, that's kind of disgusting though. Interesting. So that's the Mr. Beast situation, huh? And all of this was brought into attention because of the Ava Chris Tyson situation, huh?